Hello everyone, Russell Wright from Network Empire. Now we're going to go right into the chapter called Domain Authority Stacking. And this is where the rubber starts to seriously meet the road. So we're going to jump right in. Jimmy's going to kickstart this talk, and we're going to reveal everything that we can about how you can start integrating the exact stacking principles. Jimmy?
Yeah, thanks, Russ. So I figure we should start out by letting people know how they can actually measure it. I think in a lot of videos they've seen where I've kind of shown this tool that you're seeing up here. This is the Moz Quick Links, or the SEO toolbar by Moz. You can see right here, and this is just an add-on that you can upload to Firefox, and when you turn it on, whenever you're on a specific URL for a page, it's going to display the domain authority and page authority for that site that you're on. And if you have an account, you could click on this and it takes you to the Open Site Explorer that'll give more details about the links. You only have a certain amount of free ones you can do before you have to have a membership, but it's good for, I think, at least 5 checks a day. So this is how we measure it. So I just want people to be aware of where they can go out and get this toolbar. So with that, we want to jump into the stacking process. So by now, everybody kind of understands the importance. They kind of understand how this trust and authority flows to a site, how it builds. So how do we manipulate that? So we're going to go into, this is a general model of how I do authority stacking, domain authority stacking. And you'll recognize a lot of these, as I'm sure you know that they are very high domain authority sites. YouTube is 100, Facebook is 100, you got t.co, I think it's in the 80s somewhere, Tumblr is in the high 70s, Scoopit is 86, and Blogspot is really high as well. So you can see that the process that you're doing here is you're typically not able to go and grab a link. For instance, if you were in the car insurance industry and you're not going to be able to go out and get a link from Geico per se that's going to go directly to your money site, but you can get the next best thing, which is more like an overflow type link. And that's where 2.0s and bookmarks and some of the higher quality article directory sites and things like that can come into play, because you can still draw on that, on the domain authority from these sites, and then you can also theme it with what content you can put on there. It's not as strong as if you were getting one from a pure themed site, but it's the next best thing. So,
Got it.
as you can see, as you go along, this process, you would start at Blogspot, and when you're linking out to these different domains, say you embedded the YouTube video in Blogspot, so that link juice is going to flow to the YouTube, and then in the YouTube description you'd link up to your money site. Same thing with your Scoopit. In your Blogspot, besides embedding the video, you'd put a link out to your Scoopit page. And then once you get to Scoopit, you're going to link over to your Tumblr, and hopefully people are kind of following how this is going. And it's kind of different than tiered linking in a sense that you don't necessarily want to create a pattern for Google. Like, randomness and chaos is going to take you a lot further than a set pattern that a machine can figure out. And I firmly believe that Google is looking at tier 2 links quite in depth right now. And so you want to avoid, if you use the same linking pattern, like let's say that I use these, 6 properties over and over and over again for everything I did. Well, you don't want to do that if they're all going back to the same money site, because you're going to be generating that same exact footprint across the board. And at some point, Google's just going to slap that, because you've just created a footprint going to all your either money site or your tier 1s or whatever you're trying to manipulate the domain authority on. So it's important to be able to have the skill to actually go in and find you find these your own high domain authority properties that you can utilize. Do you have anything to add to that, Sue?
Not yet. We'll have more in just a second.
Okay. All right. I just want to give you a chance to jump in here if you'd like. So there's some tools that you can use out there to help you find these, and you'll notice that there's usually social properties 2.0s. This can even help if you really are wanting to go do guest posting or whatever it is to see if that site can fit into your part of your authority stacking. So we pulled this bulk TA checker out just to kind of present. It's basically go in and pull back these metrics up here that we get from the Moz toolbar up here that we referenced just a minute ago. So if you go into, let's just pull up like a list of bookmarking sites, for instance. Nope.
Wait a second. What are you up to, Jimmy?
All right. So here's top 15 most popular bookmarking sites. So let's just say, I'm not going to get the obvious ones. Let's just pick some. Like, let's say I want to do Newsvine. So we'll do that one. We'll do like, let's just pick a few of these here. We're just going to go check them to see if they could fit into this model that we're going to pick for trying to find these high domain authority sites that we can include into our clusters. So we'll go put these into the tool here. Just bear with me 1 minute while we grab all these URLs because I'm too lazy to type them in. It's going to hit submit, and it's going to go out and it's going to find the PA and DA of these domains. And typically what I'm looking for is you really want to have something that's over 60 to, really qualify as a good site that you want to do your stacking with. And all of these meet that criteria. You can see Newsvine does, Metafilter does, and Invoked.com does. So these are all sites that I could plug into this stacking process. So, when you're putting these together, you also got to kind of realize the quality of a link. What most weight comes through links. Is it a footer link? It's not a footer link. That's the lowest quality link that you can get. And in most cases can get you in trouble. Sidebar links, they're good, but really the most juice flow that you can get out of a link is going to come from a contextual link. And so I always try to include 2.0 sites within this mix when I'm building these domain authority clusters.
Okay.
And that's going to help you pass the most possible juice you can through all these high domain authority sites. And so, for instance, Newsvine is it's an article type directory. So you could go in here and put your article up on Newsvine and link over to even one of these bookmarks. The bookmark you can bookmark a YouTube video, for instance. So you can kind of see how these interlink. I just want to try and give people an idea of how this process works, and don't do the same set of properties over and over again. You can't be creating footprints to this, especially if you're going to the same destination. Exactly. Now, the other thing is that you want to look at is with the money site. Let's think back to what we were referring to in the last video. How does DA build? We were talking about frequency of publish and the amount of links that go to the page. Hopefully they're high quality links, which obviously you can see like a Facebook share or something is a good high domain authority link going to that post. Well, that builds faster over time the more pages you have on a domain. And so when I'm pushing this authority back to the money site. You're not going to do it all to the home page. You're not going to do it all to just one area on your site, because while that does do the trust flow, you want to manipulate your own domain authority, so you need to be targeting multiple pages on your money site. And so you kind of want to map out and really plan the linking structure that you want to do when you're going to be utilizing this to boost your own domain authority, and making sure that that the link from YouTube is going to the related page that you want to do, and then maybe the t.co bookmark, or URL shortener, goes to the home page. Maybe Facebook is sharing to another page. And specifically, when you're tying in with the methods of Network Empire, pick a silo that you're going to focus on. All this juice can flow in. I could target, you see these 5 arrows going to the site. I can target each page on a silo, and that's going to really amp up, you're building your domain authority, but you're really going to amp up the juice flow and trust flow that's going to that domain. And then from there, you really have the buoyancy from the silo that's going to really supercharge and amplify what you have on site. So, did you want to add something, Sue?
I do. Now I have stuff I want to say. All right, so we talk about doing theme mirroring between the blog and the domain, the money site. Oftentimes you've got 2 blogs. What we teach in the Tech Foundation course is you can have 2 WordPress installs, one like on your www site and another one on a subdomain like maybe blog or news or something like that. And we do theme mirroring between these 2 sites. So this is a perfect opportunity where you can take, say, the YouTube video, and in the description of the YouTube video you can link to, let's say, your money site, and the Facebook page instead can link to the actual blog post. So you've done 2 things there. You've diversified your link portfolio between 2 different subdomains while doing a single stack, and yet you're building the domain authority of the whole site, because the domain authority of the 2 subdomains is cumulative, the same way the domain authority of all the pages on a subdomain is cumulative. So, and this was a question that we had, I think, in the last Tech Foundation course, where they were asking, doesn't it, because PageRank doesn't work this way, right? PageRank, you've got one page rank on your subdomain and another page rank maybe on your www site. And so that's one of the really cool things about domain authority and page authority, is that you're building your domain authority no matter what subdomain you're linking to. The other thing was, we didn't talk about, back when we were talking about PageRank, we didn't mention that no follows pass domain authority. Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of an interesting thing that you hear out there a lot. They talk about, no follow came into play, I believe, in 2005 or 2006. Don't quote me on the exact date. But it came into play because Google's penalties revolved around manipulating PageRank. So with that, they had to provide a way for people to do a vote that is not necessarily saying they want to vouch for a page and they don't want to be hurt for vouching for a page. So, but what's interesting is, even though you put a nofollow on a link, with that tag portion, it doesn't mean that that link can't be found through other links that go to that page. So in essence, Google can actually choose if it's going to pass the weight of that link, regardless if it's nofollow or not. But the primary thing you want to focus on is making sure that the themes are correct between the sites. And you don't see the adjustment in PR, if that's what you're looking at, but you do see movement in the SERPs. So it's something interesting to note that's why relevancy and this trust flow is playing such a role. You can see that we kind of have boosted everything all at once on here. And the one thing I wanted to point out with the silo structure on site, now, when you're sending these links in, think of them as, consider these to be your on-site structure here. So there's two things going on. When you're injecting your page with trust, you're also able to manipulate your page authority and a little bit of your own domain authority just by doing your interlinking. And so there is an extent where both can come into play with this method. And specifically, if you're doing the silo structure correctly, you're going to amplify, hopefully, your most important pages that you're going to rank for on your site. And so I don't want people to think that it's just an external factor, but it's also can be manipulated to an extent on an internal basis as well. So let's go into showing a little bit of an example of kind of how these links work in a way. So what would this look like in a stack? You're able to link out to multiple properties. Your determining factor is you're looking for high DA, and PA kind of passes naturally in essence, which we'll get into a little bit later. But so those are your criteria, ways that you can manipulate multiple sites at once while trying to get as much DA flow going through those links as you can. So here we're on a scoop it. If you've taken some of the courses for the 5 iframe punch, you're going to be able to recognize a little bit of these methods. So take this, you're going to click on here, and it's going to take you over to the next page. It's a storify. So if you're paying attention, hopefully, let me highlight this. So here you have an 87 domain authority, and you're just linked over to your next page, which is going to be a 91. So, and then from here, you can go to any of these related posts, and it's flowing back down to the money site. And your domain authority is being influenced by this. And again, all that juice is going to flow and help build up. Now, as you do more of these, you'd want to target multiple pages on your site, which Russell has done very well here. These are all going to different posts on the site. So he's doing a lot of damage at the same time, which is building up this domain authority faster on his own site once it gets to the destination. So hopefully when you're thinking about that way, you can understand that there are many, many different ways to manipulate domain authority, and really your criteria being you're looking for very high domain, as high as you can get it, and different properties. You need more big guerrilla votes going to your site, so you can raise yours by linking to multiple targets to your site, all while providing all the guerrilla votes that you can get. So hopefully that's making a little bit of sense. You guys have anything to add for this portion?
I think that pretty much covers it. The main thing that I would add is that a lot of the times people are engaging in domain authority stacking and sculpting without even knowing it. I know that's something we've said. I think it's pretty cool. And to be able to consciously integrate that is really the purpose of this course, wouldn't you say, Sue?
Absolutely. And when you're aware of it and you have at your fingertips at your disposal the ability to be able to make the most use out of it, then your links become more valuable because you're just doing that extra little bit that can make a huge impact.
Got it.
It's even interesting to note here, Russell, that you've even had like tweets and Google Pluses going on right here.
Yeah,
so
and to make
even in essence, you have extra
and
big votes coming in.
And of course, those are automated, and that's without Social Explosion having been installed yet. Did I say social explosion? I'm really excited about that plugin. So it's not merely and only a sales pitch. It's the excitement that we can provide that social signal. This is just the basic one feed setup to a tiny Twitter army, which I think is 6, as you can see there. Of course, we've had some people share, but this post hasn't been out for a super long time. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it happens on a small scale, and once you consciously begin to integrate what's going on, you'll find that you can power these up by an order of magnitude.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, I think that's a wrap on this section. We'll come back in a few minutes and we'll talk about page authority boosting.
So do continue reading all of the items on this page if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next module, as Sue has said. Thanks, guys.